Oh my gosh. It's been I'd say, about almost a week since I've been online. And we've had a lot of things we had to get done, my husband and I. So it was necessary. And then me discovering some stuff. Wow, holy shit. you know, in this environment, making the connections, especially when I've supported the whole process of um, evolution correctly with meat, milk, cheese, eggs, fruits and vegetables, and fat and gluten and everything that's necessary. I mean, how do you explain that to someone who's starving? That the food was necessary. The Mongolian diet or Genghis Khan diet plus the blood type O diet was necessary. Why is it called the blood type O diet? Because it's meat, milk, cheese, eggs, all that stuff. Those who are deficient in nutrients, deficient in and the necessary fats and everything and elements and all that will be stuck in their programming until they die. And it's a sad reality, but it is what it is. But I will say this, that discovering so many things that I've discovered and coming to terms with stuff, like you saw it happen in real time, because I'm telling you, the triggers that I have in my body, it wasn't like, oh, you can make that shit up. I'm telling you, all of us have things that we have hidden away that were traumatic, and the layers of protection that we've all been forced to take, whether it's operations or medicinal, holistic stuff, the layers of programming and protection to hide away those things. I'll tell you, when you finally awaken the beast within, and it's going to be so many beasts within, then you'll realize that no matter who it is you point the finger at, it all came from somebody else. They were held over a barrel. The person before that was held over a barrel. The person before that was held over a barrel. Your parents were held over a barrel. Your grandparents were held over a barrel. Your government at the time was held over a barrel to do whatever they needed to do. So then you realize there really is no enemy. There really is no enemy. All it is just programming that was necessary at the time, and sometimes they were unorthodox methodologies that sometimes the system wanted to make sure that you couldn't pinpoint anything specifically. And if you did, you couldn't prove it. And if you did prove it, it's still plausible deniability no matter what. The system has become very advanced on figuring out how to program people without completely tearing down the whole system. Okay? And it's necessary because humans have to evolve. Humans seriously have to evolve. And how do you make humans evolve when they're so resistant to evolution and destructive at the same time? That's the conundrum that we're in, is how do you come to terms with all the programming that was in your family, in your society, in your religion, in your politics, in your scientific dogma? How do you come to terms with that programming? It may not have been orthodox, may have been unorthodox, okay? And still understand why it was done. Still understand the necessity of it. And realize that you survived it. And how will you continually survive all the different programming that is being forced on you? That you have absolutely no choice in the matter. What do you mean you have no choice in the matter? Because you're in a climate change. You have no choice whether or not the climate changed or not. The climate's changing. You have no fucking choice in it. How are you going to survive it? Or are you going to blame somebody and play the reactivist game and then die anyways, because you can't change anything that's going on. You can change yourself and find a way to adapt to it. You can't change what is going on. It's happening. It's here. So have you figured out you're in another puzzle? I learned the word conundrum when I was in 5th grade in Mrs. Delaney's class in Faria A+ school over there off of Stevens Creek Boulevard. So is it Cupertino, I think, California? Right next to De Anza College. It was only about, it's on Stelling Road that turned into De Anza Boulevard. Or was it Stevens Creek. It was De Anza Boulevard, sorry. That's, another road. And 5th grade, Mrs. Delaney's class. And I remember her reading from one of her teacher's edition of the concept of conundrum. She gave us a riddle. One of the riddle was, that I remember distinctly, where she gave us a scenario that there was a man that was flat with a backpack on, flat on his face, in the middle of a desert. And there was no footprints around him for miles. He was just there out of nowhere. And of course, we're in 5th grade, so maybe we didn't have a lot of life experience, obviously. But there's a man that was face down in the middle of the desert with a backpack on, and there's no footprints around for miles, no roads, no civilization, no nothing. How did he get there? Now, that's a very simple one if you understand, what is it? Skydiving and stuff, right? You're like, oh yeah, well, he skydived and he fell flat on his face. He had the backpack because that was a parachute, right? But when you're a kid, right? When you're a kid and you don't know how the world works or what type of things are out there, you're like, wow, I don't know. What is that? You're right? And there's so many scenarios. Like and so that was the solving of the riddle was the fact that he was a parachutist or he was a skydiver and his parachute never came out. And that was a riddle that if you take that situation and make it more advanced, like something like the Kansas Chief, those fans are watching at a person's house and they all froze outside together, and you watch that video that I posted, and that was another conundrum. How did those guys die when the guy that rented that house was sleeping in the house? How did 3 guys outside die? Was he also put to sleep? Was he all, there was all these scenarios. You can listen to that video. That's another conundrum. And what was the other conundrum that in 5th grade? Something about a fish and I don't know. Oh, that's right. This Frank was found in the middle of the room. I'd already told you that riddle, but it's okay. Or the solution to that riddle, who Frank was. Frank was a fish, but the riddle was Frank was found in the middle of the room, surrounded by water, and there's a whole scenario. What happened to Frank? Oh, Frank was a fish. Okay, so we're living in riddles. We're living in riddles, okay? But 5th grade was a conundrum. Was learning the concept of a conundrum, a riddle. A riddle whose answer involves a pun. For example, what's the difference between a jeweler and a jailer? One sells watches, the other one sells. Okay? Okay. A problem. An intricate and difficult problem. For example, he is faced with a conundrum of trying to find a job without having experience. A question or problem that has only a conjectural answer. For example, life is a conundrum. Suggests that life is puzzling, confusing, or full of complexities. And so now we are in the age of the conspiracy world, where things are happening and you can choose to believe everything is organic and people are stupid and they're going crazy, and that's also true. And then there's things that are synthetic. There are things that are contrived, that are orchestrated just to make life interesting. And you just hope that you're not one to be in that orchestration at the time. You don't want to be caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, which is why I don't really go out. I don't play the game of football, and I don't hang out with hardly anybody. I hang out with my husband. But when you're seeing all these different things that happen, like those 3 guys dying and that lady and that man that was kidnapped, American Nightmare, what was that on Netflix? And there's holes in the story, and you're like, oh shit, my conspiracy freaking radar is going off. But yeah, you can't prove anything. It was all like synthetic versus organic. So then you're like, oh shit, now you have your own life to fucking solve. You can solve all the riddles out there. You can try to solve and be one of those armchair detectives. Okay, try to solve all the riddles out there going on. And the system will keep you busy with all the riddles, because we're in a total scale down, and everyone's lives that are so oblivious to what's going on, they're expendable. Why do you say that, Jillian? Because do you know how much redundancy is out there? How many little lambs out there who are walking into shit they don't even know what the hell they're walking into, completely oblivious, buying into all the pleasures in paradise and the baubles and the games and all that. And they're going, and they're playing the game. And if you're gonna play the game, well, you might actually be one of the the pawns in that game. And maybe you might be experiencing something that was contrived. And you'll never know. And that's why I don't hang out with too many family and friends, okay? I stay on my own. I observe. I already see the game for what it is, and I'm not fucking playing. Oh, I played the game. Oh, I played the game in the conspiracy world. I played the game in the mainstream, and trying to be all successful and step on others to get ahead, whether, in financially out there, in the sales world, and, just be a shark, right? And play that game and go out there and do whatever and try to win at all costs. And then you realize that you just are, expending yourself and you're just doing stupid shit. And so then, then it's discovering the game of everything, the childhood, all the way to young adulthood, and the people that were in your world before, and now they're not in your world. And why were they never really in your world? Well, because they have their own games they have to play and sustain, because they've chosen to raise children in that game. And it's, to them, it's winning if they just keep with that game, because if they were to actually blow up their world, why would you blow up your own world unless you're going to develop another world? That's the thing. I blew up my old world myself because I knew there's a new world that I wanted to be a part of. I knew the old world was done. Old world was done. So what did I do? I blew up my old world by discovering things, by making claims, by developing a protocol that would blow up your old world, because it's painful. What's painful? Having to face everything that you usually would get treated for. Having to sit in your house and deal with all the shit that you've ever, would put behind a cure or a remedy. Eating all the food that you were told was poisoned by people in the old world. Yeah, I blew up the old world myself for myself. Then the other side of it was not trying to blow up other people's world. But in the meantime, you're trying to explain yourself, because it's natural for humans to help other humans, and so you want to give people a glimpse of what you're doing as you're blowing up the old world. But it doesn't mean because you blew up your world, it means that they could blow up their world. No. So that's why, I don't make any suggestions to people specifically, or I don't try to troll others and try to wake them up like I did for many, many years. Trying to convert people to wake up and blow up their world. Okay? So, yeah, the conundrum we're living in another puzzle. Have you not figured out you're in another puzzle? The question is, will you survive it? And that's really what the question is. Conundrums are puzzles to be put together, figured out, and discovered how the end result became to be. It's working backwards from the outcome to the intentions. And even then, you don't know all the intentions. Sometimes you can't even prove intention until you see the same outcomes happen with different intentions. People are like, oh, I want to save my life, so I'm going to go get a surgery. Okay, and they die anyways later on down the road. Well, what was the point of all that surgery? What you bought, you paid with your life for that little time that you thought you would get from that surgery, from that oncology, from whatever. Okay? Sometimes you can't prove intention until you see the same outcomes happen with the different intentions. It's a brain teaser using real people, real situations. So like that video I posted about the Kansas City Chiefs fans dying out there. That's a brain teaser. Those investigators, one was an Akron PD dude out here in Ohio. And they're trying to figure out what the hell happened here. And they figured out that these Kansas City Chief fans that were found frozen to death, 38, 37, and 36. And that's a weird age, but you add them all together, it's, what is it, 9, 8, 7 or something like that. 9, 37, 10, 36, 9, 38, 11. So 9, 10, 11. Numbers. Remember numerology? And there's 3 of them that died outside. One guy who claims to be asleep for either 2 days or didn't hear anyone. And he happens to be a scientist. The one that rented that place happens to be a scientist for an HIV medication or a vaccine. Okay, that's weird. Then they invited someone over who knows what. Maybe they were all poisoned. They haven't done the toxicology yet to look for whatever it was that potentially could have caused them to die. But he happened to find them outside, or someone else found them outside, 3 of them frozen But what happened? What was the condition of the bodies before they froze to death? That's all. And the investigators over there were saying they're ruling out homicide. How do you 100% rule out homicide in that weird situation? So that's what I'm saying. We're in a freaking conundrum. We're in a brain teaser using real people. The whole American Nightmare was a brain teaser using real people, real situations. Your whole world is one huge brain teaser. You see so many people trying to solve the intricacies of life and how to survive the riddle of life they live. All right? Some people think they have it all figured out because they happen to fall within the social acceptable parameters of survival. And so I happen to represent someone that was not very well contained for the programming that I was in way back in my childhood and even my young adulthood. And people of the past that knew me were programmed in a specific way. They followed certain programming, even tried to get me to buy into some of that. I never did. And that's why I was not readily accepted in those situations. And I get it now because my programming was very different. And so you can imagine when there's 4 people with programming that were very relatively the same. Some have gone off the deep end and whatever, and then they try to come back, and they do try to come back into the fold, but not readily really accepted by the certain people. So when you have 4 people, and then I'm the 5th one, and I'm the 5th one that has a very different programming, not easily contained. And I'm wondering why I'm being left out of all these different things and whatever, and then discovering certain things. Now I fucking get it. Now I get it. Okay? So some people think they have it all figured out because they happen to fall within the social acceptable parameters of survival. They think because they beat the odds, they did it without help, so to speak, but not really. What they haven't figured out is whatever achievements you think you've made were only good for what the system needed from you at the time. And now your time is up unless you can beat the odds yet again and figure out the intentions to the system that is not readily obvious. Okay, the game has changed. But see, when someone's already programmed to raise their kid a certain way, raise themselves a certain way, promote a certain image of that time in their community, and California is famous for those images. You really think they're going to blow up their world and be like, oh shit, everything I thought I knew was not so. And if they haven't figured out that there's more to life than the one that they have, that there's actually another world that we're entering into that you could actually be part of, are you willing to blow up your old world to then enter into the new world? And if your kids are so young, in their 20s, and they've had to get married off very early, unless their programming would deem them to be not respectable and suffering, they're done. They're in that programming of the old world until that programming runs out. And it's not my responsibility. It's not anyone's responsibility to go and blow up that world. It's not. Let them have their fun, their baubles and pleasure and paradise. But that's the thing with the J worlds. Once you know how shit works, once you see how it works, and now you're on the outside looking in, oh, it's going to be like everything, not to want to blow up that world, because then you're like, oh my God, I see it. The emperor doesn't have any clothes. Holy shit. And when people see the emperor doesn't have clothes, or when people think the emperor has clothes and you see they don't, oh my God. And then you realize that that's not your world to blow up. You figure it out. And now that's what the whole this means. The whole shh. It's not that it's because people are going to be woken up to the secrets of the system. They see it. But when you're trying to wake up others, when you think about it, trying to wake up others, you haven't fully figured out how to save yourself. You know there's danger. So that's the whole thing with indicators. Indicators know there's danger. But the other side of it is, how do you save yourself? You can't save others. You can't. But how do you save yourself while being alerted to all the dangers? And then you're trying to save others, but you really can't because they got to save themselves. You can't do shit for them. Right? And that's the torture of being in my world of the J world. Is seeing danger for what it is. And no matter how much people think they're awake out there, have they figured out how to save themselves? And maybe saving themselves means playing the part of pleasure and paradise. And oh, look, I'm cute and successful and sexual and whatever until the seasons change. And then they get all these growths and they gain so much weight that they start starving, or they get cancer, disease, and chronic illness. and then the train leaves the station and they already have someone to blame, and then there it goes. Okay, and so I tell you, man, the world's not what you think. It's freaking crazy. But when you go through that process of being initially shocked at what it is that you figure out, when you go through that process of figuring out people's intentions, and they're not benevolent, anytime that you're in some kind of relationship with somebody, and you're worshiping them, you're looking up to them. Oh my God, you're putty in their hands. You are now a pawn. And I understand now the whole point of gifts and traditions. Yeah, you're buying people's silence. You're buying your guilt. It's guilt. Gifts are guilt. And now with my husband and I, we both figured out we've been able to finally see a little bit of synchronicity. Finally, fuck. It's been such a long time. But finally see some synchronicity. And so, I know my husband wants to buy me gifts, not because he feels good, because I'm sure he's appreciative. I mean, we're in a partnership. Okay, a financial partnership, a life partnership, a biological partnership that is working. And so, we play that game with each other of back and forth. Here's my gift to you, and here's my gift to you. But but anyone else out there? Yeah, I don't play the games of gifts and worship and all that, because what are you buying? And that's the thing, it's between family and friends and all that stuff, and I'm done with playing those games. I'm not trying to buy people's time. I'm not trying to buy their loyalty. I'm not trying to buy anything. I know what the whole point of the gifts and the curses and the spells are. And so, yeah, that was another part of the world I figured out, is the game has changed. And then the riddle, again, needs to be solved in your own world. And that is understanding people's intentions. Really, seriously, understanding your parents' intentions, your children's intentions, your friends, your family, everything. And then you see the outcome of people's intentions eventually. Okay? And you gotta make a choice. Do you want to end up like the people around you who are buying each other's time and space and loyalty, and then end up over the cliff? Or you're going to figure out, are you going to have to do things a little bit differently and figure out the game again? Because the game has changed. So the riddle, again, needs to be solved in your own world. You're in another puzzle, and it's not what you think. The old ways, the old world is going down the drain. If you want to beat the odds, it's an extremely painful venture. However, if you want to leave this world pain-free, the system will give you almost everything you could possibly want. They will give you pleasure. They'll give you paradise. They'll give you a skinny body, justification to starve yourself, spiritually, beautiful clothes, all the drugs and alcohol you can possibly want, all the friends and family to surround you until the seasons change. When the seasons change, Mother Nature takes her due. The devil takes her due of what you have come, and all of what you have came at a price. Pleasure, beauty, paradise, financial success came at a price of your life, your children's lives. Okay? The video that I posted is yet another riddle, right on the heels of the Super Bowl. And you know how the Super Bowl is. People in the conspiracy world know about rituals. They know about all this stuff. If you've been in the conspiracy world, listen to like that guy Donut, or listen to some of my stuff, or listen to other conspiracy theorists and spiritual people and holistic people and all the anti-whatever people. They know we're in kind of a really fucked up, crazy world. They know, some people know that their time is coming up. They feel it. They see it. Okay? And so the video that I posted is yet another riddle right on the heels of the Super Bowl. I don't even need to prove the riddle. I already know the riddle. I fucking lived it. Okay? I understand why people need to go and explain all the connections made. And you watch that guy Donut. D-O-E-N-U-T. He's on YouTube. And he explains the Illuminati stuff, whatever. Okay, we're all the Illuminati. We're all playing a part. Some of us we're cultivated to be covers for the system, not even knowing, because of what they were trained in. Okay, some people are made to be certain influencers to keep everything, to keep that fantasy going. That, oh, here, look at my successful little daughter or son. They're so beautiful, pleasure and paradise, and they're in this field, they graduated from this college, and oh, they're vegan and vegetarian, and they bought into all of those things that the West Coast, the East Coast, even Middle America bought into. Okay? But again, that's their game to play. It's not your job to go and blow it up. And so I know the games that are being played, you get the luxury to disbelieve everything. Okay? You get the luxury to think everything is organic. When you realize nothing is really organic, really, you stop feeding into the bullshit. You stop claiming you have it figured out as far as success, fame, and fortune and beauty. But that was just one game, and the system gave you all the materials for that game to be won. Be careful claiming victory. What exactly do you think you're victorious in, right? I saved myself. It was fucking painful. But someone else be like, oh, you didn't save yourself. Now you're at home all the time, Jillian. You hardly go anywhere. You don't have a life, Jillian. Oh, and every time I see you, you're always dealing with some kind of pain. Every week, you're always in pain. Oh, God, you're always sick. You're always this. You're always that. See, so that's the thing, is if you want to be like, pain-free and asymptomatic 100% of the time, and you want to be out there, pleasures in paradise, and mixing in with mixed company, and traveling, and doing all this stuff that you think life is, okay, that's great. Okay, if you don't want to cultivate your brain so much, but you want to be out there, and you think that people that are on the computer that are doing AI are all like full of shit, but you want to be out there being a reactivist and trying to stop all the wars out there and save humanity, it comes at a price. And that's your life. But there are two different lives going on right now. We are in two different worlds. The old world of where you're reacting to everything. You're out there gallivanting, pleasure in paradise, until your body breaks down and you're stuck at home, sitting on the computer watching everyone as your body was breaking down because you never really took a break. Maybe you might see where I'm coming from. And the other world is where, yeah, you're like me. Oh, you figured out your computer stuff. You figured out AI. You figured out how to expand your brain and learn shit. You figure out how to develop beauty through artificial intelligence. Yeah, when I was posting those artificial intelligence pictures of, like, what my wedding would have been if I had all the money in the world, right? And then the accommodations for all my guests, and then the trips, the fun trips for that whole wedding week. Let's be a whole wedding scenario of a wedding week where you get to go play, that was fun. That was my little fantasy world. And it was fun. And, but the reality was my wedding was going to Tahoe and to those themed, places, and a little wedding chapel. And we had a friend and a themed room, and that was pretty much it. And then we went into trucking. It wasn't anything like what I posted, but that was kind of like, the pleasure. That was just the fun side of just developing with your brain, having an imagination. And so that's what the future is that's not so much out there playing those games of physical and this and that. Now it's about your brain. How do you cultivate your brain? It's not throwing your kids into the cow patch and into the pig pen and saying, hey, go play with animals and go be like, the 1960s and 70s, 1980s, where everyone was playing outside until dawn. That world's changing because that world's aggressive. There's a lot of microbes. The environment is accelerated. There's a lot of diseases out there. There's a lot of a crazy ass weather. There's predators out there, and people have predisposed issues that will get activated when they're around certain types of things. And so there's two worlds going on, that maybe you can stay home and stay safe and go out occasionally if you can figure out if you can afford to. Because I'll tell you, going out there, if you still have predisposed issues, it could be deadly, it could be painful, and some people won't survive it. They're not. They're dropping dead. They're dying suddenly. People think they can afford to be out there, and they can. And then one day they die suddenly. And so be careful claiming victory. Be careful. What exactly do you think you're victorious in? I saved myself. It was fucking painful. And knowing what I know doesn't make me a winner. It makes me sad for many people. Okay? Because you can't solve or correct the problem. Only in yourself. And that doesn't offer people a lot of hope because they're looking for something they can do easily, universally. Saving yourself is not easy. You also have to admit everything you have done to yourself and then look at every single side of the story after without claiming an enemy. Out there, not after. You'll understand why people do what they do, but you can't fault them for it. See, when I figured out why it is that some girls kept me out of the loop on certain things, they just purposely did that. And you saw one of my posts about somebody's eulogy, purposely leaving me out of that. Now I understood why. I look back and I remember everything in my childhood. Everything. And I'm not going into great detail. I remember everything. And then I understand why. And so when you have a great memory of almost everything, pretty much everything that you can remember, and knowing how the system programs people through the different sexual orientations and all the pleasure in paradise and academic excellence and all that shit, and even genius, okay, and athleticism and all that stuff, when you understand how that works, and everyone was taught this and held over a barrel, and originates from the government. So you can't even blame the people who were taught by the government how to do whatever they were doing. And once you buy into something and you don't realize certain things, or you got greedy because you were given a large amounts of money and this and that to do what you do, and then you do what you do, and then you see the outcome, you see the fallout, you know that day will come when someone comes asking questions or realizing shit, and you hope you die before that day comes, and people do die, and then the offspring have to figure out how to come to terms with all that shit. Some people were told what that programming was, and people actively tried to not have the uncontained person in their world because they had to keep with the programming. And I get it. I fucking get it. So that's the thing, is that yeah, you'll understand why people do what they do, and you can't fault them for it. You really can't. You can't. And you feel bad for them that they're stuck in that situation, but hey, they're getting paid. They have pleasure, paradise, baubles, friends and family, and all the things that make it worthwhile. And so you really can't feel bad for them because they're getting paid enormously for it. And that's why you can't even get mad at Hollywood. Yeah, they've been held over a barrel, but guess what? They got paid so immensely well. Even though it doesn't seem like that, like with people like Britney Spears. I mean, she was given a great life, but she's probably forced to perform and drugged. But then you see what happened with her, but then you see what happens in the lay population. You know how people, obvious like Britney Spears or all the different influencers out there. There are people actually in your world that had the same kind of programming, but it wasn't so obvious. But maybe they were successful in their specific field, but they probably went through certain kind of hell. Some were hell that they don't really remember, and others, they had to go through their own hell in their 20s, and then they wised up in their 30s, and they had children in their 40s, and no one knows where they came from because they moved to different places, so they don't know their background, so they look like they're successful and playing the part, and they can't bear to have that image tainted. And I fucking get it, okay? And so all of us have been held over a barrel. It's time to correct yourself. And if saving yourself means dying in your programming, beautiful and gorgeous, and no one knows the wiser of anything, your kids are gorgeous and allegedly successful, hey, more power to you. That's what the system wanted you to adopt, so your kids don't know anything better, and they will follow you, follow your traditions, your dreams, till the seasons change. But I had to figure out some stuff. Like, seriously, I had to figure out some stuff. And it took me 4 days to go through that process. You saw where the process started right after that one post about Catherine, Princess Catherine. And then I saw something. I did some Google searching, I read something, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm not going to really read that because that was a lot of emotion that I'm pretty much over. But I'll tell you, that was some raw discovery on my end on the world that I lived in, the world that I came from. And wow, it was eye-opening. And I blocked everyone that needs to be blocked. I'm not trying to blow up anyone's world. I'm not trying to blow up their kids' world. There are younger adults that are older than 18 that know me from certain times. And I've met them and hung out with them. And I didn't block them because they deserve to hear my side of it. But there's people that are younger than them that don't need their world blown up. I'll let their parents blow up the world. I'll let them live in that world. And so I blocked them because there's no reason for me to say anything or have them search me out, unless they purposely search me out and go to another account and develop another Google account or another Facebook account and then look for me. And that would require a reason, a very good reason to search me out. But others know something was wrong in the family and they'll figure it out or they won't. And it's even then, will they have what it takes to figure some shit out? Who knows? And so, anyways, But I had to figure some stuff out. Like, seriously, I had to figure some stuff out. No matter how much you want to blow up someone's world, it's not yours to blow up. Okay? And so also, too, you know, why there's a lot of murders out there is because people who have secrets to keep, right? And they're thinking that someone's going to divulge their secrets. Well, then that's why people get these. That's why sometimes murders happen, is that someone wants to keep the secrets, you know, secrets and lies and everything, you know, within the family, within this, within that, and they try to silence the person that might tell all. But I already said it. I already blocked the people that are necessary. The book that I have is between myself, my government, and my parents, and even then, okay. And then I showed you what I did to save myself. I'm not here to blow up anyone's world. And so I don't want anyone coming looking for me from the past and try to murder me because they think I'm going to blow up their world. No. But I blocked them. And so Facebook knows who the fuck I blocked, because maybe I might have a fear of some of their background and what they're into and have been into. And so, yeah, there's some legit shit that people should be scared of from their friends and family when you finally wake up. And you need to be aware. You need to be aware of the people in your world and speak out in a way that does not blow up their world or your world, but let people know that you know, and don't intimidate through any way, in any means whatsoever. And then also ensure that you're not going to blow up their fucking world. But you now woke up to what the fuck's going on, and you're not going to be used as a scapegoat. And that's exactly what I'm saying right now. I'm not going to be used as a scapegoat. I've been used as a scapegoat for many fucking years, and I'm done with it. I'm fucking done with it. And so, but I had to figure out some stuff. Like, seriously, I had to figure out some stuff. No matter how much you want to blow up someone's world, it's not yours to blow up. Okay? No matter how much you want your friends and family to wake up to whatever you think they need to wake up to, it's not your world to blow up for them. No matter how tempting it is to blow up people's world, it's not your responsibility to blow up their other people's worlds. That's the hardest fucking lesson ever. And when it's so close to you, when the people that you know so close to you, and you want to, no. Reactivism is torturing yourself, thinking you have the power to blow up people, the world. No, you're just an ass when you troll other people trying to wake them up. That's why I stay on my Facebook and I block certain people. I'm not making it easy to blow up their fucking world, no matter how much I want to give my side. It doesn't even matter anymore. Okay? And so there's only one person in my past that if they asked me questions, I would give them the answer. The most honest answer, and that's it. It's one person. And I already said that whole scenario of how our parents developed that gap between us. It was that whole contrived scenario of a jewelry box and who did it. No one did it, but that was the second beginning to the end of that relationship not being cultivated. Okay, so one person, I doubt that person will ask me any questions because it's too late. It doesn't even matter. All right, so if you paid attention to all my posts from the last week or so, the last month, maybe you might solve that riddle. If you understand it, it is all about sexuality and programming, then spirituality and religion with politics and the scientific protocol sustaining that product of family and aggressive sexuality. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. David Bowie fucking knew. He fucking knew why we have 1 billion hot chicks and sexually charged people, why people are in excruciating pain right now, chasing pleasure. Yeah. Save yourself. Shh. That's the whole symbolatry of shh. It's not so much that the government has something to hide. They're giving you everything. It's the families and the friends that have so much to hide, that if you actually put it all together in their world, you would blow up their world. So don't do that. Don't blow up your friend's world. Once you figure it out, you can't unsee it, and you just have to watch. But now you have the luxury of knowledge and awareness that's why the system is doing what it's doing. That's why they say it's not, there's no enemy. It was the way things were done back then for a specific outcome. And you can speculate what that outcome is. People do. People say, we know the Georgia Guidestones, the depopulation agenda, but you're given all the choices. Okay, we know about people's perceptions of the pandemic, and we know frequencies and climate change and CERN, and there's Stranger Things, and all of that, and scientists, and oh my God, it's endless. It's fucking endless. Okay? And so that's why it's so important to understand that food is important. You need the meat, the milk, the cheese, the eggs, the fruits and vegetables. I mean, if you're so religiously against meat, certain meats, then fine. But you need cow meat. Okay? You need the meat. You need the amino acids, the fatty acid, amino acids, prohormones, and minerals. That is the most necessary. I'll tell you, it's what saved me. It was all the milk. It was all the meat. It was all the eggs. It wasn't all the fruits and veggies and vegan and vegetarian and herbs and extracts and elderberry syrup and detoxes. It's knowing how important it is to know your blood type, especially in this environment. Because some people need to be, staying home and staying safe so they're not taking on more than they can release and build. Okay? But yeah, I'm so over all that shit the last couple of days. I'm so over it. It's not like, it's not blowing up my world anymore. My world is what it is. But I've saved myself. I literally have saved myself. And so now I can go about the world with a clear conscience. That I understand, I mean, I've owned up to whatever mistakes I've made, and I've done it publicly. I've evolved, and I'm not actively trying to destroy somebody else purposely. I'm not trying to save my face at the expense of a child, at the expense of a young adult, at the expense of someone just starting their life. But I still have to save myself and get it out, but it must be done strategically, with no malintention. And then realize that when people are resisting stuff, there's a lot of secrets and lies that they hold within that they don't want to expose. And I get that too. That's why things are under HIPAA. That's why you don't know people's blood types specifically. You don't know the diseases they have. You don't know what viruses they hold. Yeah, everything's under HIPAA because it's secrets. It's secrets and lies. Why would it be secrets and lies? Because the system developed so many different types of people. There were experiments done in families that even way back in the 1960s. And that's why some people have certain issues that they have because we're part of a broad spectrum of experiments that here's the outcome. But you don't want to blow up their life and say it was all intentional. But if they happen to listen to me and be like, well, that is a possibility, well, then they start questioning their own background. But that's what the whole system is doing, is wanting you now to see things slowly through the movies, through people, through the documentaries, to say, okay, there was contrived experiments and some people are the outcome of those experiments. But they had a great life. Okay, and if they didn't, well, okay, well, then make your life great. I don't know how they're going to do that, but whatever that means. Oh, God. And so, yeah, with my protocol, the way I do stuff, and I post a picture of myself where I said, Happy Monday, and that was yesterday, I feel great. My conscience is clear. My conscience is clear. It really is. And I was out yesterday I was at a restaurant. I was at restaurant. Yeah, I was at a restaurant. With that what is it, that AI waitress? I was like, what the hell? I woke up this morning, I didn't have to do too much sneezing or coughing. I woke up okay. So I think the last month was taking on that variant that's been passed around. The HV1, the JN1, and other variants. And then we're hearing that we're going to have even a more aggressive variant in the future. Okay? So the reason why I got all that exposure, I mean, I did a few hives, itchies, and bloatedness, but it wasn't this bad. But when there are aggressive variants in the environment, like aggressive little global baby offspring that's being passed around through people and it's in the air hanging, floating like a fog, yeah, sometimes your reactions are going to be aggressive and you will deal with whatever it is that's in your blood that needs to come out. But if I've already released the demons, then I would have a more of aggressive bloatedness and hives and all that. And I still survived it. And I have more awarenesses. And I handled that situation, I think, pretty well, considering. And that's why I'm saying, women really don't need other women. Women need to understand themselves before they allow some other woman to tell them who they are, what they are, how they should think, what they should think. And if you're a minor, well, your parents are going to tell you who you are. Until then, you grow up to be over 18, and then you determine who you are. And if you don't want to discover the other part of you that was under the cures and the surgeries and the drugs, then you'll just adopt whatever identity that was forced on you as a baby. And that's fine too. People do fine with whatever they choose. Okay. But yeah, so when people think, oh, Jillian doesn't have any friends because she was slighted by people in the past. When you sit down and write down everybody in your life, just sit down and write down everyone that's in your life and why you need them and why they need you, what you give to them, what you get from them, you'll figure out very quickly why people are in relationships. Deficiencies. When you don't need people except for your government to keep the infrastructure going, you realize how many deficiencies you lack. You're pretty efficient on your own. And if you choose to be in a relationship, a companionship, like I do, my husband is relatively self-sufficient. He really is. That's why we had that dream of coffee together. We were, at one moment, completely synchronized. I've never had that happen before with him, or with anyone for that matter. But when we had that dream, and he was sleeping downstairs, we fell asleep on the couch. I was sleeping upstairs. We had the same dream of coffee spilling over. That was showing synchronicity for that one moment in time. Okay, so when you list out everyone in your life and what they mean to you, whatever that meaning is, you'll realize the reason why you're with them is because you're lonely. You need them for whatever. And you have a kid to raise. But when you don't have kids, when you don't have animals, when you don't have any dependents, you're not leveraged. You're not forced into relationships. When you don't have disease and handicaps and deficiencies, you're not going to need people. It's when you have all those things, deficiencies and handicaps and other things, then you're forced into when you have children, you have animals, you're forced into relationships because you have to be. You're leveraged. And women have been leveraged. They're forced into family, taking care of things, sexuality. And that's why you're saying, those of you that have girls, give them a chance if they can. I don't know. Our society is crazy. But give them the option not to be leveraged. Tell them there's another side of life. It doesn't have to be married to somebody or sexually so crazy. But, you're dealing with hormones, people who've been hormonally driven. Sometimes those hormones skip a generation. And sometimes so that's the thing with like the whole millennials and the boomers and the Gen X. Okay. So you have silent gens and the boomers. And they're going through their whole sexualization because that was the 1960s when they're young adults, 1950s and 60s, 70s. So then they have kids like Gen X. They've gone through their own bullshit. Highly sexualized, yes, because that was the programming. And then they have children that are like millennials and maybe even alphas. And those kids are going to act out the programming. And then you see the disparity. Well, not disparity. You see the relationships between boomers and Xers and millennials. And so then you see who people are raised by. I was raised by Gen X, not Gen X. I was raised by Silent Gens, influenced by Boomers. But who won out? It was a Silent Gen, because that's what I was raised with predominantly. And then when people are raised by Boomers and they're like Gen X, most likely they're going to hang out with Boomers. Probably not have too much in common with Millennials, because Millennials are still young, still haven't wet behind the ears, still haven't figured out life yet. And so it's the Boomers that the Gen X should hang out with if the Boomers are relatively responsible. And so, yeah, and then what's crazy is when you have the Gen X raised by Silent Gens raising early Millennials who take on the Boomer mentality. So, yeah, it's some crazy programming. And that's the thing. My yellow programming, my yellow room, gave me a different programming. But I married my equal. I didn't marry anyone older than me. I have no kids. And I'm not highly sexualized. I released that programming. And I don't really need it for a family. I don't need to hang out with family or buy into the Silicon Valley scene. And so, I can make do with almost nothing and still survive. So, yeah, that's all I'm going to say right now. But, I mean, if you look at all my past posts for the last 4 days, a lot of emotions. A lot of them. And so my mother knew the secrets of the system. She saved my ass. Okay, so that's why you don't want your girls to have children, because she will be owned. She'll be owned by the system. Owned by everybody. And her vagina is not her own. And so, yeah, that was why David Bowie was like, I'm afraid of Americans. Actually, I'm going to read these lyrics. Give me 1 second. Because it's apropos. Give me 1 minute. Oh, there we go. I'm afraid of Americans. Johnny's in America. No tax at the wheel. No one needs anyone. They don't even just pretend. Johnny's in America. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of American. Johnny's in America. Johnny wants a brain. Johnny wants to suck on a Coke. Johnny wants a woman. Johnny wants to think of a joke. Johnny's in America. I'm afraid of Americans. All right, there's that whole loop. And then Johnny's in America. Johnny looks up at the stars. Johnny combs his hair. And Johnny wants pussy and cars. And you think how many boys out there and all that are all about having pussy and cars? Johnny's in America. Johnny's in America. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. Okay? And so David Bowie has American men pretty much figured out. And you look at some of these artificial intelligence groups, and you see what predominantly is the most shared and the most liked. It's all about ass and COCK and PUSSY and body parts, and that's pretty much the extent of a lot of American men and even a lot of American women. That's all they are, reduced down to their body parts, their assets. And when that goes to the wayside, when the sexuality goes to the wayside, when the looks go to the wayside, what do they have with their partners? What do they have with the world that they live in? And so that's why you see then the plastic surgery and all the drugs to keep the sexuality going, because that's all they have to offer to the world and to their partner and to themselves. And that's what the system reduced the woman down to, was a broad mare and a sexual plaything, and then one day self-destruct. So women really haven't really, in America, women haven't surpassed that glass ceiling. Because even those in corporate America, yeah, they might be doing their, their inventions and they're running companies. But remember, that sexual programming is still there. The pleasure in paradise and the baubles and all that is still there. And eventually the supernova. Because you'd really have to take time off to save yourself. And that would require staying home and staying safe and facing the pain and suffering of leaving the old world behind and entering into the new world. And then they wouldn't be chasing animals and pets and all of that. But, women are programmed to have animals and children and things to leverage them and to be pain-free. All right, so that's all I'm going to say right there, that's it. I've pretty much gone all the way back to day one. I've gone all the way back. I've covered every single part of the life. Somebody didn't even realize that was a significant portion of the suffering until a trigger. And so pay attention to your triggers, because they're telling you what needs to be resolved. And when you do get triggered, thank God you get triggered. Now figure out how to face those triggers without trying to stuff another cure onto it. And if people trigger you and cause you to go into a mess, then yeah, block and delete them. And I would say that people of the past that have triggered me, they're done. There's no way, there's no reason to bring them back into my world. They're done. Because what future do we have? We have no future. They have to deal with their own shit. And what are we going to do? Have a come to Jesus moment in the future? No, they have their own bullshit to deal with. If 50 years later, it was 2050 or 2060 or whatever it is, and they're still around and they're not suffering and they've done my protocol and they've stayed home and stayed safe and they released the demons and they've come to terms with their own bullshit, yeah, I could see it's maybe if there's some kind of, if they wrote a letter or an email that says, okay, hey, this is so-and-so from way back when, and we're in 2050, almost 2100, and they're doing amazing, and they've come to terms with so much shit, and they've like, yeah, I would have a conversation, but I would never have any conversation with any of my past right now. Only one person. Because it's too soon. Even for the J world, it's too soon to claim victory against anything. You're in the process. You're in the conditioning process to release those demons. And they're fucking brutal. But I want to be there for myself and for the world as we're going through the process, saying that, yeah, you could survive it, but it's fucking brutal. Not everybody will survive the process. But somebody is surviving it, facing the pain, facing demons without tearing down her own world as well as other people's worlds. And you can do that. You can strategically get it out without blowing up the world. That's what I offer. Strategically release those demons without blowing up your world and everyone else around you. All right, bye.